Okay, so let's be honest. Everyone wants to eat healthy, right?
Right.
But it feels like we're constantly bombarded with like confusing messages about what that actually means. Like, what's good for you?
Yeah.
You see these labels, they say like whole grain and low fat.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you have like influencers who are pushing detox teas and,
Yeah.
superfood powders.
It's a lot.
It's enough to make anyone's head spin.
It really is. It's like a nutritional minefield out there.
Exactly. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive into this fascinating ebook that you sent over.
Yeah.
Called Exposing the Truth About Healthy Food.
Right.
Because it turns out a lot of what we think is healthy is actually just clever marketing designed to make us spend more money.
Right.
So get ready to become a savvy shopper because this deep dive is going to give you the tools you need.
That's right.
To see through the hype and make like truly informed choices about what you eat.
Yeah, and I think the ebook does a great job of revealing the tactics that the food industry uses to kind of manipulate our good intentions.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, for example, they often use a technique called health washing.
Okay. Health washing.
Yeah.
That sounds intriguing. Break that down for us.
Yeah, so health washing is essentially when companies use misleading marketing to make unhealthy foods seem healthy.
Okay.
They slap buzzwords like natural or organic on products that are still loaded with sugar, unhealthy fats, and artificial ingredients.
So like that natural soda.
Right?
With high fructose corn syrup. That's a prime example of health washing.
Absolutely. Just because something is derived from a natural source doesn't mean it's good for you in the amounts and forms that we often consume them.
Right.
And, the ebook also exposes the myth of low-fat foods.
Right. Because when they take out the fat, they often replace it with...
Yep, more sugar.
Yeah, more sugar.
Yeah.
And ironically, that contributes to the very health problems
Exactly.
those foods claim to solve.
Right.
It's amazing how our brains can be tricked by these marketing tactics.
Well, we're wired to look for shortcuts, and food companies exploit that. We fall for the halo effect, where one positive attribute, like being organic,
right,
makes us overlook other less healthy aspects.
Yeah.
Plus, we tend to gravitate towards information that confirms our existing beliefs.
Right.
Even if those beliefs are based on clever marketing rather than scientific evidence.
So how can we, become more aware of these mental shortcuts and avoid falling for them?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to learn how to read food labels like a pro.
Okay.
And the ebook gives some great tips for that.
Okay. That's a good segue into the whole sugar debacle because this ebook really dives deep into how sugar is hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, it calls it sugar-coated deception.
Yeah.
Because you'd be surprised how much sugar is lurking in foods that are marketed as healthy.
Right.
Like breakfast cereals.
Yeah.
And yogurt.
I've definitely fallen for that before.
Oh, yeah.
Like thinking I'm making a healthy choice, and in reality, I'm starting my day with a sugar rush.
Exactly. And the problem is that sugar has so many aliases.
Yeah.
It hides behind names like evaporated cane juice, agave nectar,
Okay.
and fruit juice concentrate.
So it's not just about looking for the word sugar on the label,
Right.
but learning all of its sneaky synonyms.
Yeah, exactly. And the ebook also debunks the myth of natural sugars.
Like honey and maple syrup.
Right. They might sound healthier, but your body processes them the same way as any other type of sugar. It all breaks down into glucose in the end.
Okay, that's a good reminder. Even if it comes from a bee or a maple tree,
Right.
it's still sugar.
It's still sugar.
Speaking of things we've been told are bad for us,
Yeah.
let's talk about fat.
Okay.
Because the ebook really challenges the whole fat phobia thing.
Yeah, that's actually a fascinating part of the ebook. It explains how we were misled for decades about fat.
Okay.
Thanks to flawed studies and aggressive marketing campaigns that painted all fats as villains. This led to the rise of low-fat products that were often packed with sugar and processed carbs to make up for the lack of flavor, and that ultimately contributed to the very health problems we were trying to avoid.
It's amazing how one flawed concept can have such a ripple effect on our dietary choices.
It really can.
So tell us about the good guys in the world of fats.
Okay, so the good guys are the unsaturated fats.
Okay.
Monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. You'll find them in olive oil, avocados, nut seeds, and fatty fish like salmon.
And what about saturated fat, which has been demonized for so long?
Well, the ebook suggests that saturated fat is not as evil as we once thought.
Okay.
It's fine to have some from whole unprocessed sources like grass-fed beef or pastured butter in moderation,
Okay.
especially as part of an overall balanced diet.
Wait, so you're saying a little bacon isn't the end of the world?
Well, even bacon can be part of a healthy diet in moderation, according to the ebook.
Okay.
The key is to focus on the quality of your fats and consume them as part of a balanced dietary pattern.
Okay, that's a relief to hear.
Yeah.
So to recap, embrace good fats, limit saturated fats, and avoid trans fats like the plague.
You got it. And remember, the best way to get those healthy fats is from whole, unprocessed foods.
Okay.
Think avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil, fatty fish.
Yeah.
All delicious and good for you.
That's true.
Yeah. Now that we've kind of debunked some of the common myths about fat, let's move on to another tricky area.
Okay.
Those so-called healthy foods that are actually not so healthy.
I have a feeling this is where those protein bars and energy balls I love so much come into play.
You guessed it.
Okay.
They often hide behind buzzwords like protein and energy and whole grain, but the ebook exposes them as glorified candy bars in disguise.
Okay, but they do have some protein in them, and they do contain, healthy ingredients like nuts and seeds.
Right, that's the deceptive part. They might have a sprinkling of those good things, but they're often loaded with sugar, unhealthy fats, and a laundry list of processed ingredients that sound more like a chemistry experiment than food.
So it's kind of like putting lipstick on a pig.
Exactly.
The healthy aspects are overshadowed by all the junk.
Exactly. And the same goes for those diet foods promising to help us lose weight.
Right.
The ebook calls them a nutritional nightmare.
But wait, aren't artificial sweeteners supposed to be better for us than sugar?
Well.
And what's so bad about those fake fats that they use in fat-free products?
Well, the research on artificial sweeteners is still evolving, but some studies suggest they might actually disrupt our gut bacteria.
Wow.
Increase cravings for sweet foods, and even contribute to weight gain.
Really?
The opposite of what they're intended for.
That's pretty shocking. It seems so counterintuitive that something designed to help us lose weight could actually make us gain weight.
It highlights the complexity of nutrition and how our bodies don't always respond in predictable ways. The ebook also points out that those fake fats, often made from things like modified food starch and cellulose gum, might mimic the texture of fat, but they don't provide the same satiety or nutritional value.
So we're basically being tricked into thinking we're making healthy choices, but in reality, we're consuming a bunch of artificial ingredients that could potentially do more harm than good.
It's definitely a wake-up call.
Yeah.
The ebook emphasizes that the best way to avoid these pitfalls is to stick with whole, unprocessed foods.
Okay.
Real food that our grandparents would recognize.
Fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, healthy fats.
Exactly.
The basics, right?
Exactly. And the ebook makes a strong case for cooking at home more often.
Okay.
Because it gives you control over the ingredients and helps you avoid processed foods.
I know cooking can seem daunting, especially when life gets busy.
Right.
But the ebook does offer some good tips for making it easier.
Yeah.
Like batch cooking on weekends, so you have healthy meals ready to go during the week.
And embracing one-pan meals, which are a lifesaver for easy cleanup.
Right. You can roast veggies and protein together on a sheet pan or whip up a stir fry in minutes. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Okay. Those are some great tips. But what about those times when we do eat out? Does the ebook completely demonize restaurants?
Not at all. It acknowledges that eating out is part of life.
Okay.
The key is to learn how to navigate restaurant menus strategically.
Okay.
The ebook recommends checking the menu online beforehand so you can plan your order and avoid making impulsive decisions when you're hungry.
That's a really great tip. I'm definitely more likely to make healthier choices when I've had time to think things through.
And don't be afraid to ask your server questions about ingredients and preparation methods.
Right.
Most restaurants are happy to accommodate dietary requests. These days, many menus even highlight healthy options or offer substitutions to make dishes more nutritious.
Like asking for dressings and sauces on the side.
Exactly.
So you can control how much you use. Exactly. And remember to load up on vegetables. Order extra sides of veggies and ask for them to be prepared in a healthy way, like steamed or grilled instead of fried.
So we've covered shopping for real food, cooking at home more often, and navigating restaurant menus like pros. But there's one crucial element we haven't discussed yet.
Yeah.
Food labels.
This is where the ebook really shines. It empowers us to become nutritional detectives by teaching us how to decode the often confusing information on food labels.
I don't know about you, but I always struggle with those serving sizes.
Yeah.
They seem so small and unrealistic.
That's because they're often designed to make the nutrition facts look more appealing.
Right.
The ebook points out that a serving of chips might only be a handful, but who stops at just a handful?
Definitely not me.
Yeah.
So how do we make sense of those serving sizes?
The key is to be aware of how much you're actually eating and adjust the numbers accordingly.
Okay.
If you eat double the serving size, you're also getting double the calories, fat, and sugar.
Okay.
Pay attention to your portions and make conscious choices.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
What about all the other numbers and percentages on the nutrition facts panel? Which one should we be focusing on?
The ebook recommends zeroing in on a few key nutrients, added sugars, saturated fat, trans fat, sodium, fiber, and protein.
Okay.
Ideally, you want foods low in added saturated fat, trans fat and sodium, and higher in fiber and protein.
So essentially, we're looking for foods that are minimally processed and naturally nutrient-rich.
You got it. And the ebook reminds us that the ingredient list is our secret weapon.
Okay.
It tells us exactly what's in a product listed in order of quantity from most to least.
So if sugar is one of the first few ingredients, we know it's a sugary product no matter what the front of the package claims.
Exactly. And be wary of long lists of ingredients you can't pronounce.
Yeah.
Those are usually signs of a highly processed food.
Okay.
The shorter and simpler the ingredient list, the better.
This is all such valuable information.
Yeah.
It's like you've given us a decoder ring for the grocery store.
And that's the goal of this ebook.
Yeah.
To empower us to make informed choices about our health. By understanding how food labels work and what to look for, we can make healthier choices that align with our goals.
It's about taking control of our health and not letting ourselves be manipulated by clever marketing.
Exactly. It's about becoming savvy shoppers and making choices that support our well-being.
Wow, this has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
Yeah.
It feels like we've peeled back the curtain on the food industry and learned how to spot all those sneaky marketing tricks.
Yeah, it's all about becoming more aware of the messages we're bombarded with and learning to discern fact from fiction.
I love how this ebook doesn't just focus on what not to eat,
Right.
but it also emphasizes the positive side of nutrition.
Exactly. It encourages us to embrace what it calls real food freedom, nourishing our bodies with delicious whole foods that make us feel good.
It's about ditching the diet mentality and focusing on sustainable, healthy habits that we can stick with long term.
Right. It's about making peace with food and enjoying the process of nourishing ourselves.
So for our listeners who are ready to put all this knowledge into action, what are some key takeaways they can implement right away?
Well, the ebook has a handy anti-BS checklist at the end of each chapter, which is packed with practical tips.
Right.
But if I had to distill it down to a few main points, I'd say this.
Go for it.
First, become a label detective. Don't be swayed by those flashy front of package claims.
Okay.
Flip the package over and scrutinize the ingredient list and nutrition facts panel. Look for those hidden sugars.
Okay.
Prioritize whole food ingredients and pay attention to serving sizes.
That ingredient list is our secret weapon.
Absolutely. Second, make whole unprocessed foods the foundation of your diet. Shop the perimeter of the grocery store where you'll find the fresh produce, lean proteins, and healthy fats, and try to cook at home more often, even if it's just a few times a week.
It doesn't have to be gourmet meals every night.
No, not at all.
Just, start with simple recipes and gradually expand your culinary repertoire.
Exactly. And lastly, don't be afraid to eat out. Just be mindful.
Right.
Make informed choices by planning your order ahead of time, opting for lean proteins and plenty of veggies, and asking for sauces and dressings on the side.
These are such practical tips that anyone can implement.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect. It's about making gradual changes and forming new habits that support a healthier lifestyle.
And perhaps the most important takeaway is to cultivate a healthy skepticism.
Okay.
Question everything you hear and read about nutrition.
Right.
Don't blindly follow trends or buy into marketing hype. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Think critically and trust your instincts.
It's so easy to get caught up in the latest fads and quick fixes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's about finding what works best for you and your body.
And that's what this deep dive is all about. Empowering you to take control of your health and make choices that align with your values and goals.
So ditch the diet BS. Embrace real food freedom, and remember, you are in control of your health. Thanks for joining us on this insightful journey.
If you enjoyed this deep dive and learned something new, we'd love to hear from you. Share your biggest aha moments in the comments below.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into fascinating topics. We've got some exciting episodes coming up that we can't wait to share with you. Until next time, happy eating.